everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got another podcast episode for you guys today just to kind of catch up, talk about what I'm working on, all of that lovely stuff. So I did take a break from posting last week, the week that you're seeing this, and I struggle with this so much. I love to tell other people that taking breaks from things is important and that you should take time for yourself to do things, or even just take the time to catch up on other tasks if you need to, but I am really bad about remembering to do it myself. So last week when things felt kind of chaotic and I didn't really feel motivated to post, I decided that it was more important to just take a break. So that's what I did. I ended up not really even working on crafting a lot this past school week. I just kind of let myself relax or catch up on some household things when I got home from work each day, and just kind of had a week to reset and relax and let kind of that creative energy come back, because I felt like I was pushing myself a little too hard and it was becoming difficult to be motivated to film videos. So the only video that I just decided to skip entirely was doing an ambiance video for the month of March, but I figure I have enough of those on my channel. If you really want an ambiance video to watch this month, you could always watch one of my older ones if you're needing that time to feel like you're working with somebody on a project. The other thing that kind of happened in the last couple weeks is the season of Lent started, and I am a practicing Catholic, so we do observe Lent. My phone is going crazy because one of my friends has decided to start a text conversation. So if you hear buzzing, I apologize. It's my watch, not my phone. And I can't remember how to turn the buzzing notification off on the watch. So even though my phone is on silent, the watch is not. That's just what we're dealing with today. But going back to what I was talking about, we do observe Lent in our household, and part of that is giving something up for Lent. And I decided this year to give up buying yarn for Lent. I think I'm in a better place as far as not feeling pressured to buy a bunch of yarn. I kind of know a little bit more now about what I like and what I enjoy working with. So it's not as big of an issue, the amount of yarn that I'm buying. I feel like I kind of have a plan to use most of the yarn that I do have, but I would generally like to downsize the amount that I have in my stash, just so that I don't feel as guilty when I do make new purchases of new things to work on. So that's kind of an overhead goal for my crafting space, is just to decrease the amount of yarn, but it paired really well with the idea of giving up something for Lent. So I decided to give up buying yarn for Lent, which meant that I also didn't have as much to show on the podcast as far as acquisitions or purchases. Although I did, strangely enough, find a way to make up for that this week, because I realized even if I can't buy yarn, I did not tell myself I couldn't buy other crafting related things. And for some reason this week I was drawn to a couple of knitting books. And I haven't purchased a knitting or crochet book for myself in quite a long time. I've gotten a couple for Christmas in the last few years. My in-laws gave me both the Crochet World Crochet Cryptids book, as well as the Crochet Houseplants book. But I have not picked up a knitting or crochet resource or pattern book for myself in quite some time. So when I saw that one of these was, I forget if it was on sale or if I had some sort of a coupon or something, but that was originally why I looked on Amazon for this book. But I did finally decide to purchase the 52 Weeks of Socks book. This is by Lane, which I believe is a magazine. Usually, I think this is just a book of patterns from said magazine. I can't really remember. I know I looked at it in one of the intro or pages at the back, but it's exactly what it sounds like. It is 52 sock patterns to work through. And since I'm on my mission to get better at knitting socks, be more adventurous when it comes to knitting socks, I thought having a sock book would be a really good resource. The one that I wanted to get originally was the Sock Project by Summerly Designs. And that one was not available on Amazon. I don't know if it's like sold out or if it's just not available there yet. I don't know what the deal is. I thought it was available for pre-order a while ago, and I know it has since obviously come out. But I was not able to purchase that one, which is why I went for this one, which was also kind of on my list as far as sock books that I wanted to get. So there were definitely several patterns in here that I think I want to make in the near future and possibly even use them as some of my Taylor Swift socks. I'm not going to hold up and show the pictures because this book is heavy and it's definitely hard to not show the pattern with a lot of these because the pictures are like embedded in the pattern on a lot of them. I guess this is one I can show if I do it off center like this. But this was a design I was looking at that I thought was really pretty with the like diamonds and cables and just sort of all over texture stitches happening. But I'm hoping that this will be a really good resource. It also looks like there's a bunch of different heel and toe options throughout the pattern, so maybe I'll learn how to do some new heels and toes. And then the other book that I got, I actually purchased at Michael's, which in hindsight I realized is kind of funny that it came from Michael's because it's actually a Noro pattern book. It's a bunch of shawls, as you can tell, and I didn't even realize that it was a book for Noro yarns until I got home. But every single pattern in here uses one of the Noro yarns, although like a couple different fiber content styles. But once I got home, I immediately dove into a pattern this morning. So I'm doing it kind of tilted again so that you can't see very many of the stitches. But this is just called the Textured Shawl by Anne Klimpert. And the reason why I started with this is because I remembered, after noticing that this was a Noro book, that I had gotten some Noro yarn a couple months ago from the thrift store and I wanted to use it for something. So I did go ahead and start that textured shawl in the Noro that I had, which is this like pink orange, and it goes into like a golden yellow color. And the reason why I decided to go ahead and start this is I have no impulse control when it comes to starting projects, so that was definitely a key factor there. But two, I actually have a summer wedding coming up this year, and I'm planning on re-wearing a dress that I bought for a fall wedding, which is kind of a mustardy yellow color with some texture on it. And I really like having shawls at weddings, even if it's too warm to actually wear them. It does help to like have something to put over the back of a chair to kind of like mark your seat, make it easier to find. And also like sometimes it does get really chilly in the evening even for summer events. So it's nice to have one on hand, honestly, even if it stays in the car. But I thought this was a perfect color for a summer wedding that still had that like goldeny yellow color in it. Also, this colorway is very much reminding me of a tequila sunrise with the like orange juice and the grenadine. Those like pinks and oranges are definitely tropical drink coated. So I have not actually started the lace part of the shawl yet. I just did the edging, which was a ribbed section followed by a garter stitch section. And this is obviously going to need to be blocked before wearing because that rib does compress the stitches quite a bit, although even as I've been like kind of playing with it and pulling on it, it has flattened out quite a bit. But this is just going to be a rectangular shawl, and most of it is this, they're calling it a ladder and twist stitch, so kind of a vertical striped lace pattern that I'm really excited to try. I'm also thinking that this pattern could work well as a prayer shawl because despite the fact that I have been working full time, I do still want to be a part of my prayer shawl group at my church. Even though I can't like physically go to the meetings, I do still want to work on some prayer shawls and stuff like that. So I'm thinking this could be a good pattern to make a couple more of those, especially if I want to practice that lace stitch more. But so far it's been pretty easy. I realize I haven't gotten to the lace part yet, and that's probably the most difficult part. But the part I have worked on so far has been really easy because it was just 3x3 rib and garter stitch. So, but so far I really like this Noro book, which I don't even think I said what the title is. It's just called Timeless Noro Knit Shawls, and then the tagline is 25 unique and vibrant designs. But there's a lot of really cool patterns in there with some very interesting stitch techniques and stuff like that. So I'm excited to make more from that book. I really wanted to do the one that was on the cover. That was what first drew my eye, which is probably why it's on the cover. But I was really excited to try that out. Clearly, because I didn't even wait 24 hours before casting on something from the book. So definitely excited to have both of those books in my collection. I've been just kind of craving doing some more adventurous things, especially with knitting. I feel like I had gotten to a point in crochet where there aren't very many crochet techniques I'd be afraid to try. Like, I definitely have all the basics down. I have a lot of like more complicated stitches down, but crochet kind of has the advantage of if you do have to frog it back, it's not as scary because you only have one active loop at a time. Whereas frogging knitting is a little bit more intense because you have to pick the stitches back up and it's a whole process. So I feel like I've been a little bit more timid when it comes to trying new things with knitting. But I'm trying to work through that, and that was part of why I picked socks as like my big project of 2024, because socks are something that seemed very intimidating, but once I got the hang of it, they weren't actually that bad. So I think the 52 Weeks of Socks book is definitely going to help me on that front, in being even more adventurous with stitches for knitting. And the shawl book, I think I'll at least get a couple projects out of that. But yeah, that's those are like the two purchases I had, as well as that one whip to show you. I'm going to go ahead and do finished objects next because there's not a lot of them. They're also all things that you either will have already seen here on my YouTube channel or will see soon. The first is that I have 2 new washcloth tutorials coming soon, one crochet and one knit. And those are both completed. And then in the next couple of weeks or months, I will be doing some tutorials on how to add borders to those washcloths. So I have another 4 tutorials planned. So if you're making every single washcloth in the series so far, you could also put a different border on each one in the coming weeks. So that was very exciting. And then my other finished object was my cardigan socks from my Taylor Swift sock series. These were super fun to work on. I kind of like the little almost hidden cable that runs down either side of the foot and the leg. And I really had fun designing these. I say designing loosely because I was technically following somebody's pattern. I just added the cables in. But I had a lot of fun making these, figuring out what stitches I wanted to use and pairing it with the yarn. And part of the reason I picked this yarn is because I have it in brown as well, so that will eventually be my Evermore socks. So I had to make sure that those two matched somehow. But yeah, not a lot of finished objects, mostly because a lot of my whips are either big projects or I just wasn't really working on projects a lot the last couple weeks. And it's not even that there was anything like super stressful going on, it was just busy. I'm getting to the point of where I'm almost done with the maternity leave that I'm currently covering. I've got a little over 2 weeks left with that class, and then I'll switch to a different position to cover a different maternity leave. So it's been a lot of like trying to wrap things up and make sure that like the actual teacher doesn't come back to complete chaos. And just like stuff management is the mode that I've been in for the last week and a half or so. And just physically tired. And this was something that I was talking to a friend about yesterday, that at my old teaching position, I was so used to being emotionally tired on top of physically tired that if I feel good emotionally, I sometimes forget that I will also be physically tired and that those things are independent of each other. So I was kind of surprised the last couple weeks, especially, that I was coming home from school physically tired, but it's nicer out. Like, we had recess, the kids have more energy, like there's more stuff going on, more projects. Like, of course I'm going to be tired at the end of the day. Like, I'm in a career where I'm mostly on my feet. That's to be expected. But I still don't feel overwhelmed like I did in my previous teaching position, which is really good. So I've been enjoying it a lot. I think I'm going to be a little sad when I leave this class. I'm glad that with the position I will be taking over for, I'll still see them in the building. Because I think it's going to be a little hard to not be with this class anymore. But I've been with them since October, so that's not really that surprising that it would be hard to leave them. I also didn't know I was going to be in that spot for that long, but there were some scheduling things going on where it just made more sense for me to stay in that spot a little longer. So I will definitely miss them when it's time to swap over. But I'm excited to meet my new class too. I know all the kids already because I've subbed in the building before, but to be with them on a daily basis will be very fun. So yeah, the like educational part of my career has definitely had a sharp uptick that I wasn't really expecting, but it's been kind of nice to have that more regular position again instead of just going in kind of randomly. I do think that if this continues, which I'm starting to think it might next year, either with some more maternity leave coverage, if it's needed, or with a part-time position or possibly even a full-time position. I just don't know yet. I will probably have to do some adjusting to my YouTube channel just to avoid burnout, because 2 videos a week is a lot. But for now, it still seems like decently manageable, especially with spring break coming up and then summer break, where I can really crank out a lot during the day. That was a very rambly bit, but basically that's why I haven't been crafting as much in the evenings. Is just I've been tired. There's been a lot of stuff going on. We also had a family member pass away, and we were dealing with some emotional support things to do, as well as like my mom is helping plan the memorial service and all of that stuff. So that was thrown in there too. So it's just been kind of an odd couple of weeks of feeling tired and having some big emotional things going on that were not teaching related. They were entirely separate. Yeah. That's how the last couple weeks have been going. But let's get back into why you're actually here, which is knitting and crochet stuff. So one of my other whips that I've been working on for a while is my Musselburgh hat. And originally my goal was to cast on my second color, or start my second color, on my birthday. That did not happen. I'm still on the first color because I decided I wanted this to be a little bit more of a slouchy hat. So I have a couple rows left for what I want the length to be, and then I will switch colors. This has been definitely a not super active project. I'm going to go ahead and move my stitch marker. This is where I was last time I showed you my progress. It's a good portable project, so I've been kind of saving it for times where I need something to take with me. And I haven't had a lot of those occasions lately. Although I did bring it to my craft club at the library this week, which was very fun, but it happened to be on a super cold day, so we did not have a lot of people come to that one. That's okay. We still had fun talking. So that's kind of, there's not a lot to say on that one. I'm still working on the garter stitch eternity that is the middle of the hat, but hoping to make some more progress on that soon. And then I have a baby blanket that I started a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to put a stitch marker in it. I know I did a couple rows at some point, but I don't know where, so this is the progress that it's at. I'm using the Caron Simply Soft Speckle in the color Vintage. I've got 2 skeins of this. This was also just kind of an impulsive project start when I felt like doing something crochet on something easy, so I started that. And then my other width that's been a little bit more on the active side is what I'm hoping will be my Easter cardigan. So I'm doing a hexagon cardigan. And even though it doesn't look like I am alternating 2 skeins. One of them is like the mauve, yellow, and blue, and the other one is mauve and purple, or something like that. I guess the one with the yellow has some purple in it too. But this is going to be one half of the cardigan, and the other half has kind of similar colors but in darker tones. That one's also just a plain old like granny hexagon cardigan, so not super exciting in terms of stitches or talking about what I'm doing. I also talked about it more in the last podcast episode, so if you want more details on it, you can check it out there. The other project that has kind of just been sitting in my pile and staring at me in the face is a cardigan that I started that is mosaic knit and alternating 2 colors that are both self-striping skeins. And I suddenly have some thoughts about this because I was having a lot of fun with the mosaic, but was kind of thinking about practicality, what I wear in my closet and what I don't. And I realized I do have a couple of brightly colored handmade cardigans that I don't really reach for that often in the winter. The summer ones I do, my short sleeve ones, which is the Easter cardigan is going to be a little bit more in that category. But in the dead of winter when it's freezing cold out, I don't reach for neons and bright colors very often. So I'm thinking instead of adding a cardigan to my self-made wardrobe collection, I think I want to frog that piece and make a pullover instead, because I don't have a bright pullover, and I definitely found myself gravitating towards pullover sweaters that I could throw on with jeans or like olive or black pants for work and not have to think about my outfit is kind of the vibe for winter. So I figured having a brightly colored one would still add something to my wardrobe that I didn't already have and be kind of the style of piece that I've been wanting to wear more in the cold months. So that will probably be frogged. I haven't decided yet how I want to do the striping pattern. I think I don't want to do it mosaic. I think that'll be too busy as a pullover. I think I might just do micro stripes and let the colors change, just like how I planned on with the mosaic version. I lost that word for a second. Can you tell I'm still a little bit tired? Because I'm definitely still a little bit tired. But I'm thinking especially if I can find a pattern that is a like mock neck or turtleneck sweater, kind of a boxy fit with a split hem, because I do really like split hems, that would be perfect. So I'll probably be on the hunt for that on Ravelry in the next couple of days. And maybe cast that on soon, even though I should be working on my Easter cardigan, if I'm going to actually wear it for Easter. And now I have a shawl for something in June. So clearly, I just wanted to give myself more projects is what was happening there. It's been a crazy week. Crazy couple of weeks, crazy couple of months. But I'm happy with where things are going and happy that I took a break this past week so that I could kind of reset. Coming up on the channel, I already talked about the washcloth tutorial, so you'll get the knit one on Friday, March 8th, and the crochet one hopefully on Friday the 21st. I do have a vlog planned for Friday the 15th. I'm hoping I can get out another pair of Taylor Swift socks by then, so hopefully that'll work. If not, you'll get the crochet washcloth tutorial that day, and the vlog will be pushed back a week. And I've got another vlog for the end of the month that I'm a little hesitant on if I want to attempt it that week or if I want to wait and do it like the week I have spring break, but I haven't quite decided yet. So we'll see on that one. You might get 2 vlogs this month. Unclear at the moment. But that's going to be it for this podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in seeing more crafty content from me here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps out my channel, and then you get notified of all of my crafty content right here on YouTube. And if you'd like to follow me on other forms of social media, that information will be in the description box below. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.